Over 300 of the world's rich and powerful identified in Pandora Papers report on hiding assets. They are not hiding assets. They're there. Everybody, how else would they find them? They have trusts that are legal. These are totally legal. Offshore tax havens have long been a refuge for wealthy individuals trying to hide assets. Now, states like South Dakota, Nevada, and others have also become magnets for those dodging taxes. They're not dodging taxes. If you mean going to places that are tax friendly, so if you move out of Illinois to avoid the property tax because you don't like the, is that a dodge? Are you dodging taxes? Or are you simply moving to a state that has better tax laws as you see it? That's not a dodge. I mean, I guess you can characterize it as a dodge. That's according to the Pandora Papers, a collection of these journalists that are getting together. Biggest tax havens in the U.S., South Dakota, says Pandora Papers investigation. Again, so this is the big story, that there's states that have beneficial laws for those who have money to start a trust. A trust is a separate entity, much like a corporation, much like, this is instead of a will. Wills are not necessarily a good way to pass your assets along. Many of this, and when they say it's a tax dodge, they're also talking about the step up in basis. So they've tried to pass this in the new law. The step up in basis is when somebody in your family passes and leaves you something. When you take possession of that property, you take your basis is at the value at the time that you take possession of them. So let me give you an example. I'm not going to use my mom, but somebody's mom passes and she has a building and it's worth $500,000. She bought it many, many years ago for $100,000. If she were to sell it, there'd be a capital gain of $400,000. If when she passes and then that goes to her heirs, they take that property at $500,000. So are they dodging $400,000 for taxes? Of course, it wouldn't be a $400,000 tax. It would be tax on $400,000. By taking it at the basis of $500,000, are they dodging that? If they didn't get to step up the basis when they took possession when mom died, they would have to report $400,000 in capital gains. How would they get the money to pay those capital gains? They'd have to sell the asset. And this is what the problem is with these rules when it comes to business owners, when it comes to farms, right? So many business owners don't have, and they're changing a lot of these rules even before you die. So when they're lowering the capital or increasing the capital gains tax and lowering the minimum, which is what's on the table now. So if I have a business and I don't start a 401k or I don't have any retirement account because I'm taking all my money from the business and plowing it back in the business, trying to make the business grow like most small business people do. One day they hope to sell that business. And when they sell that business, now they'll be faced with these capital gains and the government will come in and take around a third of what is left. So now they're not getting their retirement. It's being taxed and they're losing their retirement. So we're disenfranchising small business people and we're discouraging people from starting their own business. And that's what makes America great, in my opinion. Anyway, that's what I think. So, there's another story about the IRS not answering telephone calls. We'll get to that maybe tomorrow. But in the meantime, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I want to ask you to, now remember, if you haven't, this show is sponsored by the Law Office of Steven A Leahy, PC, and Open Tax Advocates. If you're facing IRS problems and you need help, the best thing to do, the first thing you should do, get a copy of Deal with Your IRS Problem Today.